I
Hi.
Sorry.
We are now live.
Yay! Hi.
Hi guys. We just wanted to pop on tonight. We changed the day slightly from Sunday afternoons, just so we've got time to spend with our own families. So we thought we'd sort of reschedule it for Monday night and see how that fits with everybody. If you are watching and you want to comment on tonight's live, if you can give StreamYard permission to use your name, it just means that if you do make a comment, we can see who's commenting. Otherwise, if you don't, all we see is Facebook user, which doesn't really give us any information at all.
We're very happy to say hi, Facebook user. This is the answer. But it'd be nice to have a name.
Yes, definitely. So tonight we thought we'd just pop on and we're just going to kind of do a bit of a recap on what we were talking about last week, which was obviously focused mainly around banking, and then also give you a bit of an insight as to what's going to be coming up this week. So do you want to start with banking?
Yes, yeah, can do. Basically, we did a lot of discussion last week about how important it is to actually set up a separate business bank account and the various options that are available to everyone. So this is something that I know initially when I started up, I did set up my own bank account for my business, even though it was only a little kind of hobby business, simply because having an accounting background, I'm used to seeing people coming in with the carrier bags of receipts and money flying here, there and everywhere. And it was just so confusing to help them sort their tax purposes out. And I didn't want that happening to me either. And I didn't want stuff coming out of my, she's laughing because my filing system, and we'll come on to that later. But it's in a separate bank account, Louise. But it's really difficult because you get things muddled up and something will go out from your business and all of a sudden it's like, oh God, I've got the shopping to go out and something else. And it just gets really confusing, and it puts you into that professional mindset to have that separation, which is good. And also if you're looking for funding, funders need you to have a separate bank account. That's really important.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's been one of the issues recently, obviously, with the bounce back loans that the government announced. I obviously had a few clients that wanted to apply but had been using their personal account, and they were actually asked to open a business bank account before they would actually be able to apply for the bounce back loan. So yeah, it is really important. And there's also the issue around suppliers. If you're looking for certain suppliers,
yes,
if you don't have a business bank account, then they may not deal with you. Having that business bank account, like you said, makes you look professional. It makes you look like you're a serious business and you're there to run a business and make money, and it's not just a hobby.
Yeah, and especially if somebody's paying you as well, and you go on to, because I know when I do bank transfers and I'm paying suppliers, it checks the name.
Yeah, and a lot of them do now.
You see that it's a personal bank account, which, especially in this day and age when there's so many scammers around, whenever I see something coming up that's a personal bank account, that to me is a warning flag. And your customers are going to have the same warning flag, your clients. You don't want that. That's not, you are a legitimate people.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, it just makes life so much easier. Like you said, trying to run your business through your personal account is not going to be easy, and you're going to get confused quickly.
Yes, extremely.
And there are options out there. You don't have to go to a high street anymore. There's plenty of online banks out there, because the one problem with trying to get a bank account through the high street is it can take quite a while. There's a lot of form filling. I originally opened a bank account with Santander. And I had a lot of forms to fill out, and they're not necessarily straightforward and easy to follow.
Nope.
So I went through all of that. I opened up my Santander account. I got it free banking for I think 12 or 18 months initially, because I was in my first year, which was fine. And I was kind of getting to the end of it. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to start paying £7.50 a month now.
Yeah, which isn't good.
And there isn't there wasn't a lot of transactions going through. A lot of my stuff is on direct debit. Clients pay me via direct debit. There's very little cash, and to be honest, there's no cash and checks that go through my business. So I thought, well, I'm going to try and find an alternative. So I did a bit of Google research, and obviously Google is a wonderful thing. And obviously found there were other options out there. So there's a lot of choice when it comes to online banks. I ended up choosing Starling, which is, I've not had any issues with it so far. It's been brilliant, and the setup was so easy. You just download the app and you just apply for it via the app. So you can take photographs of your ID. You have to do a little video thing, which is a little weird, but it was all opened up really, really quickly.
Yeah.
I know if you've got a limited company, then they'll do a few more other checks. You might have to get confirmation from an accountant or bookkeeper and some invoices, but it is still a fairly straightforward procedure compared to trying to get a bank account on the high street.
Yes, and it's lots. I mean, the Starling, I know I've had experience with as well, but also things like the Martin Lewis money expert, he rates them very highly too, because he was doing an analysis on online bank accounts, which to be honest, I'm a high street girl. That sounds really bad, but you know what I mean. I come from an age where I've always gone to the bank, so it's coming out of that has been quite interesting. But I know that I've used TransferWise as bank account as well, because I have a lot of multi-currencies coming in, because I deal a lot with America and Australia, and that specializes in multi-currency transactions. So I can have one bank account with them, but it has lots of little sort of currencies. So I've got pots, which is quite handy, but it depends what you need. So you need to look at how you're using your bank account, what you want it for, and then look on the market as to what's going to suit you best.
Yes, exactly. Because a lot of people nowadays spend so much time on their phones. Everybody does everything through their phones, and I've had clients that are trying to access their high street bank on their phones. They can't download me the statements that I want, or they can't download them in CSV format that I need to be able to upload them onto my software. And so they have all sorts of these struggles because they just don't have the features that you might need. And I'm there telling them, you're going to have to log on to a computer and do it.
Yes.
And they're just looking at me think, but I just want to use my phone. And that's the beauty with the online banks. You can use your phone. It gives you everything you need on the app. You're able to download the bank statements at a press of a button and everything. There's no extra steps needed, and you don't have to log on to the computer.
You can do that on some high street banks too.
You can. Some are better than others. Some are better than others.
Yes. So it's worth looking at that. And don't forget the post office, because a lot of the high street banks use post offices. So if your business has got a lot of cash coming through, you can take that cash to a post office and deposit it. Because I know a lot of high street banks effectively are closing, which is an issue if you're a mainly cash business. But there's lots of options out there. It's quite good to have a look around. And
and it's quite daunting as well when you kind of face, what do I look at? And I kind of always say, I said, Google is your friend for starters. Compare them. So, try and find reviews on different ones, and there'll be good and bad points for them all. Starling might work for me, but it might not work for somebody else. You've got Tide, Mezzle, I think is one, Metal, I think. There's loads of them. You've got Cash Plus. So if you've got a bad credit score, a bad credit history, there are still options for you as well. So it is always worth looking around, and it's looking at the fees.
Yes.
So a lot of the online banks might be free, so there's no monthly fee, but they'll tend to charge you for depositing money into it, mainly because you'll end up having to go through to the post office to do it. There are other ways around that to reduce your fees, sort of saving that money up to the month end and just banking it all at once, rather than multi-deposits throughout the month. But it's just always worth just doing your research.
Yeah, and it's a good idea to write down as well what you're looking for. So ask yourself the questions of, am I handling cash or is it all in cards? do I want to be borrowing money at some point or not?
Yeah.
Because that will affect charges and interest rates on business accounts too. So it's looking at what you're like now,
yes,
but also with a view of what am I going to be like in 18 months time, to make sure that your decision is based on where you're wanting your business to go as well, not just
exactly. Because I mean, if you are a cash rich business, then you might find that actually a high street bank that has that set monthly fee might be better for you than an online bank that you're going to be paying a percentage of everything that you deposit. Whereas that monthly fee, there's no extra charges with that. So it is worth doing your research. And like you said, it's not a one size fits all.
No, it isn't. Absolutely not. It's every business is as an individual as the person owning it and running
it. Exactly. I mean, I did a lot of research. I think I did about a week's worth of research, just trying to look at all the different banks, looking at all the pros and cons. Was I just going to stick with what I had, or was I going to change? And I just decided, well, I don't deposit any cash. I don't deposit checks.
Yeah.
Everything is done via direct debit, either in or out. So for me, it just made sense to just pick an online bank. And it's also making one that is protected as well through the financial standards.
Yes, always
as well.
Protected.
Because obviously one I think has gone under and people have lost their money and everything. So you need to be careful. But there are some good online banks.
Absolutely.
And there are still some good high street banks.
Yeah.
It's just one of those areas that you need to do your research. Don't just pick one that, oh, my friend uses that one, or I know somebody that uses that one, and I'll just do that. And it doesn't work.
I'll just add that example actually. It's like, oh, my mate uses HSBC, so I'm going to do that. Well, it might work for you, mate, but it might not work for you.
Exactly. And then you just end up changing bank accounts again.
And that's a part.
So I think that kind of covers what we went over. Obviously, we did release the blog on Thursday, which was my top 5 reasons for choosing a business bank account. So if you haven't had a look already, you can just scroll through the past post and it'll be there. Just click on it and just have a look, have a read, and let us know what you think. But what we'll do is, if we move on to kind of this week's theme.
Yes, which is the hidden costs. Is it the hidden costs?
Hidden costs.
Oh God.
Secret hidden costs.
Hidden costs. Yes. It's been busy. It's been busy. I've been out today. It's very exciting. I went to a business meeting and met somebody actually in person for coffee, which was just, I felt all giddy. But it was a brilliant meeting, but it was just like, oh, I'll put makeup on, I'll go out. and my brain's gone, completely gone. But so hidden costs actually, and that actually comes into the secret costs a bit too, because following the meeting, I got a phone call from my framer to say my painting's ready to be picked up, which of course was half an hour the other side of where I live from where I was having coffee. So, which is drive home, use the loo, drive off again. But things like mileage costs are actually really important, and you don't think of it. And I know when I was first started setting up my business, I never included my mileage costs because I'm an artist and it's not part of a painting. But being an accountant, I did know that there was something going on. And I started logging distances between exhibitions. But actually, even back then, I never logged the distance between the framers, which I should have been doing, because that is a cost, driving to the framers and back.
Absolutely.
Now, especially because it used to be just sort of like 4 miles down the road. Now it's a half-hour drive to the framer I use. So it mounts up, and you can add those mileages together. It's just a matter of making a note, and those can get knocked off your profit. So it's because they're an allowable expense, and you can use the inland revenue rates in order to calculate it, and that's way easier than petrol receipts.
It is, and it's the one piece of advice I give to all my clients, that unless they've got a van and they've got a trade type business, then vans are easy. Vans are perfectly allowable, and
Yeah.
Yes, you can have everything you want related to the van. Yes, you can have if it been a business related item. But when it comes to, obviously, majority of people will use their cars. I use my car.
Yeah, I do.
Use your own car.
Yeah.
I say to clients that, they pay all their fuel and they put all their fuel receipts in, and I'm like, right, okay, what percentage is that? The majority of that fuel is going to be for personal use.
Yeah.
So they kind of get told, look, it's going to be easier for you to track your mileage.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple of ways you can do that.
Yeah.
A spreadsheet is the simplest way.
That's not one use, because I'm a bit simple. So
So I have got a mileage spreadsheet that I use my clients. So I am going to share that to the group this week. So everybody will have their own copy of it if they so wish. But again, if you're quite infrequent with your miles that you do for the business, then I would definitely say a spreadsheet is the simplest thing to use. However, there may be someone out there that does quite a lot of mileage for the business.
If you're delivering cakes, for example, and
that's where a spreadsheet can just get it can always get a little bit tedious, because you almost feel like you're constantly updating a spreadsheet and having to keep a real good track of your business mileage. And as our Wisdom Wednesday post will tell you, as a sneak preview, there is an app for that. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to list any apps. If you want to try and find it, I'm going to tell you to Google it. If anybody asks me for help or anything, they just can generally get told, just go and Google it.
Google it, yeah.
Google it.
Well, yeah, that's what we're going to do.
But yeah, once the Wisdom Wednesday post comes out, I will list a couple of good
will be useful.
Apps.
Yes.
And one that I actually use, although I don't do a massive amount of mileage, I do have the app on my phone, and it's just easy for me because I can download the reports as well. And it's a good idea, because if you do a lot, you can download your monthly reports and send them to your bookkeeper or an accountant, and I can probably guarantee you they will love you for that. You'll be one of their most popular clients.
My diary, so I go through my diary and say, when did I drop off at an exhibition? When did I go and collect stuff from a framer? Because I put those as appointments in my diary, and then I just look at the address, look at my home address, go on RAC, look up how far away it is, and put that in my spreadsheet. So I have my date, where I was going, miles ×2, because you come back.
Yeah.
Hopefully. And then I just put the inland revenue amount in there, and it just automatically does a little sum and spits out how much I put the mileage on my little income and expenditure spreadsheet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you do that on a weekly basis as well, you'll find it a lot easier to manage than waiting till the end of the month and trying to go through a diary and think, oh, this is taking forever.
Yeah, and I think that goes for everything, really. The 5 minutes spent a day or a week or whatever, because prior to going live, I've just been told off, because this is I really need to put these into a spreadsheet folder, because these are all the invoices and receipts and general gubbins that I've been piling up for the last 3 months, because I've been busy doing other things. And even though you just shake your head at me. I know. And that's the worst thing is, I know.
Exactly, you should know better.
I know. It's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to have to spend like a whole week going through it, logging it, figuring out which bank, because I have a PayPal account and my bank account, my business bank account. So I need to figure out where that happened. The loans that I've put into my business, because it's not generating enough money currently to pay all the outgoings. So it's looking at all, and I know that I should be doing that every Friday for half an hour, and that's all it would take. But you know what they say, doctors make the worst patients. I am an accountant, and I love spreadsheets as well. You'd think I would be, but that's the other thing. I love spreadsheets, so I'll be probably spend couple of days quite happily conditionally formatting and not actually doing any work.
But yeah, say much. I've been making sure my spreadsheets that I'm uploading are nice and tidy, and I don't think I've ever spent as much time setting up a spreadsheet.
Be more organized. I do need to be more.
Yeah, so I have bought nice new files, as you can see in the back, the nice brown files. Everything is nice and tidy. I've had a good tidy. I have got some filing to do, but this is neatly in a tray behind me. My desk may be slightly messier, which I'm not going to show you that.
My desk is very similar to this. Stuff everywhere, and this is part of the journey. You see, you are an incredibly organized person, and I was very organized in my corporate world, but I had this disorganized art side to me. And now that I've left the corporate world, even though I still dabble in a little bit of accountancy, I'm now fully in my art world, and it's like all that knowledge that I had, all that organizational skills I had, is just gone. Bye. Yeah. So I need to bring myself back and start taking note. That's how this group is coming about. It's the two of us talking and realizing that there are so many people that need help, including myself. So we're all.
I'll say, let's listen to your own advice.
I know. Oh, God.
You see, I'm the complete opposite. I tend to do little bits every day, but that's easy for me. It's easy for me because I am a bookkeeper, so I am constantly on my account software. So for me to just pop into mine out of a client's a set of accounts, I can pop into mine. Oh, there's a couple of items on my bank. I'll just reconcile those off now.
Yeah,
that's easy for me. At the beginning, when I first set up the business, I wasn't that organised. It did get left, and it didn't actually get left to the month end. It might have got left to quarter end. But since then, and I've got more organised and got myself sorted, and now because I am generally sat at the computer every day, I can just nip in and do it, and that's all you need. Like you said, it's 5-10 minutes a day.
Yeah, and it's having that. It's like when you start a morning routine, and I now have a little sort of exercise and meditation routine that I'm so proud of. It only takes 20 minutes, but it's just like, I'm really glad I've done that. And now that that's a habit, I need to do an admin habit as well, and just get it done at the beginning of the day. Just do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I know it will be brilliant. It's just because I get excited about being able to do art and things all day, and I don't want to do. It's not that I know I need to do it. I just don't want to do it, and I need.
Nobody wants to do it.
I know.
It's one of those. It's just one of those necessities. It has to be done.
It is, and the daft thing is, I feel so much better when it's done and everything is organized, and I feel it's like feng shui. I feel like
I've actually done my admin today.
And I can look on my little spreadsheet on my income and expenditure, which transverts into that's not even a word, transferred into a profit and loss account. And I can see where I am. I can see where I am with my bank account. And it makes me feel better and more comfortable with my numbers. But I'm as guilty as the rest of them. And I think, I only started this full time in February, and we have had COVID. So it hasn't been a normal business start. That's no excuse, is it?
No, that's pathetic. Yeah.
Okay, well, I need to say that next time we discuss this needs to be only the week that we're in.
Mm-hmm. I will check up on that.
I know. Wish I had said that then.
I'm going to make a note of it right now.
Thanks.
I'll give you a couple of weeks.
Oh.
Maybe I'll be nice, and maybe the end of September, just give you a little bit of leeway.
I thought you were going to say the end of August then, because I was like, you know what, that's just about right, isn't it? Because that's next week.
No, I'm on holiday before that.
Oh, that's all right.
But I will check up on you.
I know. But just the thing is, it's like I say, it's silly, and I can report my progress to the group and say
exactly
what I'm doing, and
you're going to practice what you preach.
Yes, yeah, that's so irritatingly true.
And I will hold you up accountable.
To be fair, that's the thing that you need. It's that accountability, and I don't know what other people in the group think, but having other people to hold you accountable is that helpful?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, because I mean, like I said, like the coaching course I'm doing at the moment for my business, I have an accountability partner. I will admit I haven't messaged her in a couple of weeks because I've been swamped with work generally. But generally, it's just a quick. I'll just send her a quick message. How are you getting on with the course? Where are you up to? Are you struggling with anything? And it's just touching base with someone, and sort of, you know, you then know if you're struggling on something, they might found it easy and understood it slightly better, so they can help you. You can help them, and it just. You know, and it's if you say you're going to do something, they can say, have you done it yet?
And to be fair, you're more likely to do it when you've got somebody doing that. I know that's how I started my fitness habit. Was I had a personal trainer over in the States for a little while, and he said to me, the only way you're going to do this is if you tell me every morning. So I text him every day and I said, right, I'll do a day number. And then each day I'll text you. I think he regrets it now, because I've been back in the UK for 8 months. And so what used to be an 8 a.m. text is now a 2 a.m. for him text that he gets every day. 394 tick. And about once he'll reply going, that's lovely. Are you done now? I'm like, no. You're my partner for life now, mate.
Yeah, because we just had a comment.
Oh, hi.
Yes, I agree. Procrastination. I am very good at it. I am very good at it. I think everybody's a master of procrastination. It's so easy.
Yes.
So yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. Should we get back to hidden costs?
Oh, yes. Sorry, we've completely gone off on it. But I was just trying to think what other hidden costs we've got, because we've got hidden costs on using your home as an office. Electricity. Yep. I'm sat here with the light on. I'm pointing in that direction. The light's actually over in front of me. But you don't necessarily think of that either. And
no.
Gifts is a big one. I'm going to be
so like you said, you've mentioned gifts in the past. Obviously, if you're given a gift and if it's materials that you're going to use, it's, you know, do you account for that?
You've got to, because although it doesn't cost you anything, you're going to have to replace that. And that means it is going to cost you. And to value your work without it isn't actually putting the correct value on your work.
Yes, absolutely.
You need to make sure that your work is reflective to what you've used in it, irrespective of where that's come from. So if someone gifts me some, I don't know, massive canvas or something, I have to still put that in my costs, because that money that I'm getting from that painting is going towards my materials for my next painting and food, or gin. But you know, you've got to think that, otherwise you're not. It's like depreciation for when you buy assets and you write it off over a number of years. It's exactly the same principle. Yeah. You do need to make sure you account for it in your costs. I mean, it doesn't go into your income and expenditure, because it's not actually an expense. You haven't physically expended it. But when you cost your goods, you need to make sure, because otherwise I'm trying to think of that example of the canvas. If you cost it just on things that cost you something, that canvas would be, I don't know, 30 quid of material with all the paints and gold leaf or whatever I'm putting on it, thinking that 30 quid is actually quite a lot, depending on the size of the canvas. But if you're doing it again and including the cost of a canvas, it's £60. Yeah. So somebody's got a really good deal, but it's a false economy. So you need to make sure that you cost it.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's lots of hidden costs out there that I suppose if you don't know what you can claim, then you know it's
that's the thing.
It's claiming it's hidden costs for pricing your work, but it's hidden things that you can claim for, like the mileage as well.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, you can claim for your mileage. You know, you've got your use of home costs.
Yeah. Yeah, your mobile phone, your landline, if you're doing landline, if you're doing digital art and things like that, you've got your broadband costs.
Yeah,
if
you're
distributing it. So there are so many that if it's genuinely relating to your business, like sewing. So if you were doing lots of, I know a colleague of mine sews loads of masks. She's brilliant, but she hasn't actually accounted for the fact that her sewing machine is running for 8 hours a day and her electric bill's gone sky high. So it's things like that you need to make.
Yeah, it's just knowing that you can apportion those costs. So, you might, for instance, your mobile phone might be just 50-50 business, or so 50% you can put into your accounts.
Yeah.
It might be slightly higher.
And that's a good point of apportioning. It's not looking at the whole of your electric bill or phone bill. It's looking at, for example, it's difficult with electric if you're something like a student. Like I've got one dedicated room in my house. So this room is probably, I don't know, about an eighth of the size of the house. So I will look at the electric bills and say, well, an eighth of that electricity is likely to be my office, because although it hasn't got a cooker or a washing machine going, it does have the light on all the time, because it doesn't actually have any natural light coming in. So it's looking at things like that.
And there's, I mean, when it comes to use of home, there's two ways you can calculate it. So you've got the long-winded way, which is taking all your bills and looking at them and apportioning them to percentages and everything. Or HMRC do have the simplified expenses as well.
That's actually, yes, that's a very good point. And looking at HMRC's website, they're actually really simple to use. I know a lot of people get a bit scared of going on to HMRC because you instantly think it's this big government, big brother, but their help sites are actually really
they are, because I'm actually I'm actually putting together an ebook at the moment which kind of pulls all that information into one place, because you do end up having multiple screens. And it can get a bit, some people don't mind doing that, others just want something I can just flick through to this page and it's there. So I am putting an ebook together which pulls together all the information around allowable expenses, disallowable expenses, capital expenses, and what you can claim on all your capital expenditure as well. So I will release it to the group once it is complete and once I've actually made a start on it.
Oh, you're like me. I'll just finish this, and by finish I mean start.
Yes. So I will hold you accountable for your filing and your spreadsheets, and you can hold me accountable for actually getting the ebook done.
I will do as well, because that's something that I would really appreciate, and the thing that the principles of that are going to be built into the app that we're looking at designing as well, so to make sure that we've got the correct information that's coming through.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest hidden cost that we're going to have, which we will cover in a separate week, because I think it deserves an entire week all to itself. I've got a fly buzzing around in front of my camera.
I can see a fly.
I've got a fly buzzing in front of the camera. So I think the biggest hidden cost that people tend to forget about, that will have its own dedicated week in the group, is time.
I think we may need more than 1 week, to be fair.
So I'm not even going to go into that, because it will probably take an entire live just to go through it in itself.
That's 2 lives, because you've got the whole, how do you physically cost it? How many hours do you physically put in? And then there's a whole mindset thing that goes around it as well. It
comes down to what hourly rate you want to be earning, and everybody is going to have a different answer, because everybody's circumstances are different. So yes, we will touch on that. I think not this week. I think next week. I think we've got that down from week beginning 31st. I think
of our subjects, and when we're doing them next to me, then I could have instantly. That would have meant actually thinking about what I was doing before I came on.
I've got week beginning 31st hourly rates.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
it would be interesting actually if anyone watching on the replay has any comments or questions to do with that, because I know that is actually a really emotive subject.
Yes.
And if anyone has any specifics, God, I can't even speak now, put them in the group and we can look to address it on our next live.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
When we're doing the next live on that, which you will know.
when I schedule it.
Yeah. That would be actually really useful, because I know there'll be loads of people who have questions, because I know I had loads of questions before I started. So yeah. And
at least then if you get the questions into us, we can have the answers ready for you.
Absolutely.
So yes, that'd be a good one. I think we've probably gone on enough tonight.
I can gabble away for hours, me, you know.
But I've got to finish packing.
Oh God, you're going away, aren't you? Oh, how exciting.
I've got packing finished. I've got food to cook for tomorrow's lunches, and I've got loads to do. I may make it to bed before midnight if I'm lucky.
Instruction booklet that I need to get to the printers, so I guess I need to crack on and actually do it, rather than sitting here having a wonderful time with everybody in the group and, as Liesl says, procrastinating.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, so if you have watched this live, brilliant. And if you're watching this on replay, if you've got any comments or anything you want to make, just pop them in the comments bit underneath, and one of us will reply to them. As I said, I am on holiday the rest of this week, but I am odd and I will have my phone on me, and no doubt I will be on and off Facebook throughout the week because I'm weird like that. I get told off. I get told off
whole day and don't put the phone down.
It's always in my back pocket. To be honest, Wednesday and Thursday I'll probably not be on much.
No, good.
I will be having fun in Legoland and Chessington. So
very jealous of the Legoland.
Looking forward to it. As is my nearly 4-year-old little girl, who is super duper excited. She has got herself a brand new little suitcase, which she has named.
Oh,
so her suitcase has a name.
Oh, that is so cute.
So I am going to go. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody, and I'm going to go and finish my packing and getting ready. The top tips and Wisdom Wednesday are on their way. There will be a blog on Thursday.
Yes, there will, as soon as I've written it.
Yes, as soon as you've written it. And also on Wednesday, I will upload the spreadsheet for the mileage spreadsheet. So if you do want a copy, you can just then download it from the file section.
And
anyone,
just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we shall say good night for now.
Yay, good night, and thanks everybody for listening.
Bye.
Bye.